Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to a new episode of Words of Wellness. I'm your host, Yassir Al-Manawi, a clinical therapist. Today we're going to be talking about an issue that pertains to all of us. But let me first, before I tell you what we're going to be talking about, let me ask you a question. How many of us have to work 12, 13 hours a day? How many of us run away from their home life into their work life? How many of us switch responsibility from one to another? When I say from one to another, I mean from one that's not so easy to another one that comes easier for them. I bet a lot of us do that without even noticing. And a lot of us, when we're faced with it, you know what we do? As a human nature, what we do is that we run farther into it. We don't try to correct it. So that's why I want to touch upon that. It's the addictive self. It is the human nature, which is addictive. So let me read the surah from the ayah from Surah Al-Madina. We're going to read the translation, and then we're going to get right back into our discussion. Surah Al-Madina, ayah number 90. O ye who believe, intoxicants and gambling, stones and arrows are abominations of the Satan's handiwork, so avoid such that you may prosper. What does that mean? It talks about the addictive self. What is the addictive self? We talked previously about addiction, the disease of addiction, and we talked about what people could drink or drugs and alcohol and stuff. But the addictive self is basically the human nature to slip into the easy thing to do, what's easier for them to do, or what their habits are made out of, what they got accustomed to doing. That's what the addictive self is. In therapy, what we usually talk about is that we have to be very aware. I tell everybody to be very aware and be very specific about the things that you like very much. Somebody, and this happened not too long ago, in therapy, somebody came and he was working 14 hours a day. And he was complaining that his children are not close to him. And they came for family therapy. And you know what happens is that the children started talking about things that not related to their father. And he was feeling really horrible inside of him because he doesn't know how to relate to his kids. He doesn't know how to relate to his wife. He's in a different life altogether. That happened a few months ago. And then we talked about a lot of issues together and changing a lifestyle. And then what happens is that he came back and he did not change the lifestyle. He is still doing the same thing. He is still going into work 14, 15 hours a day. And his kids and his wife go in the opposite direction. And he feels the exact same way. So when he came to therapy this time, he was alone. And what happened is that I asked him, do you really have a desire to change? It's the addictive self. And it was a surprise to him that I told him, could it be that you are addicted to work? He said, well, nobody could be addicted to work. I said, no, people could be addicted to everything. What they get accustomed to, what they like very much, they can get easily addicted to. That's why we have to do things in moderation. I chose this ayah because it actually illustrates that the addiction is not to one substance. It could be to anything and everything. It could be to work. It could be to gambling. It could be to drinking. It could be to, some people are addicted to love. They just can't live by themselves. So it could be to a variety of things. Some people are addicted to love to their kids. What does that mean? We have in psychology what we call the person who are most stable among you is the person who is able to balance between life issues between work and between home and between friends and between all of these issues. So a person is supposed to balance between this and this and this and that. What does that mean? I translate it into moderation. A person has to be moderate. A person has to know themselves and their actions. A person has to realize what they could be falling into and either prevent it before it happens, or it's not too late. Even if it happens, they can change. They can change their ways into positive ways. And remember, this is connected closely, very closely, to somebody's values. But what we do as human beings is that we might sell ourselves to an idea. That's my expression. Sell ourselves to an idea. What does that mean, sell myself to an idea? I don't want to face the truth, and I don't have the energy to correct my actions. So what do? I say, okay, now I'm working, and it's just what I do for my kids because I love them. Well, you have to spend time with them. Everybody has to balance their lives. That's the only way. So when we're talking about all of these issues in therapy, therapy is not anything but is to have somebody living a balanced, happy, comfortable way of life. It's not for crazy people, no. Because a lot of people think that, oh, if I go and see a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, that means I'm crazy. No, not by any means. It's not for crazy people. It is just to comfort yourself, to find balance for yourself, to live the life that you ought to live. Our Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he was the greatest counselor. People used to go for him for counseling. And that's the whole thing about counseling, about balance in life. So let's see. Now we have spoken about the addictive self. Again, I want to see the addictive self is all of our internal needs that gives us immediate satisfaction and gratification. We need to be able to postpone the satisfaction. We need to be able to postpone the gratification. And that actually what's going to help us in raising a healthy family. That's what's going to help us in raising our children, if we learn how to postpone our gratification. Work is not postponed gratification. Why? Because when you work, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, done. You know exactly what you're doing at work. So you get self-gratification right there and then. Same thing with addiction to anything else. You get self-gratification for it right there and then. Whether it was for love or for work or for drinking or drugging or doing anything. Raising children, you have to wait years. It takes a lot of work. So please, watch your addictive self in order for you to have a healthy family. And thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.